Tip number 1 to always have a tidy house is to blame the inventory, not yourself. So I used to be a total messy person, a complete slob, and I can still slip back into that when I'm not intentional. So I've actually had to study tidy people, and something that I've learned about them is that innately they keep inventory down. So, if we've spent any amount of time together, I like to look at everything in our home as inventory that we have to manage, inventory that we have to put away, inventory that we have to tidy. So the more inventory we have, the harder it is to keep your house tidy. And naturally tidy people keep very low inventory. And I think that's because they naturally and innately prioritize cleanliness and order in their home over creative pursuits and just in case items, and they're not as hard on themselves about money they spent on things or worried about getting something and then needing it down the road. So that's what we need to learn if our goal is to keep our house very tidy, is that any area of your house that's not working, whether it's your entryway or your laundry room or your pantry, food's always going bad in the fridge, you struggle getting dressed in the morning, it is always an issue of excess inventory. So if you want to apply any of the other tips that I'm going to share and have them actually work, we first have to declutter and significantly reduce the inventory. Number 2 is the one-touch rule. In other words, don't put it down, put it away. I used to despise this, and it was because, I don't know, for whatever reason, I couldn't beat my flesh into submission to not put it down and to actually put it away until I realized this. The reason I wasn't putting it away often was because it was a pain to put it away. The place I needed to put it away was full and crammed, and I had to shuffle stuff around to easily put it away. Now, Cash from Clutterbug, she'll say it has to be just as easy to put something away as it is to leave it out. So if you have struggled with the one-touch rule, take a look at the places where you're trying to put stuff away. I will almost guarantee it that, again, there's too much inventory there and the stuff is the problem. That's why it's hard to put away. It's not actually you at all. Tip number 3 is to have a standard daily reset routine. So ours has changed and evolved as, the kids grow and we have different seasons, but mostly it's when I'm in the kitchen making dinner. That is when I'm getting a load of laundry going, or whoever is in charge of laundry at the time. The kids are doing a pickup of the house, and then after dinner is done, we are doing the dishes completely, most days when we can, and sweeping, picking up the whole house. And again, because we have reduced the inventory so much to the point that we call ourselves minimalists, this isn't that hard, and I don't have to beg and plead my kids to get involved either. Because the inventory is so low, this isn't hard. So again, you can see how this idea of inventory really plays into all of these tidy home habits, and that as we reduce the inventory, so many of these things just began to fall into place. Because I'm still not a super strict checklist routine follower. That's why I've joked I had to get rid of all of our stuff, because that's the only way I stand a chance at staying on top of it. But not only staying on top of it, it doesn't feel hard now. In fact, it feels kind of easy and almost enjoyable a lot of nights too. Tip number 4 is to declutter as you go. Decision fatigue is a real thing. So often we think to be successful at decluttering, I need to set aside a whole weekend, I need to get a dumpster and a babysitter and just go all in. Do you know what the problem with that is? Decision fatigue, because we get about 4 decisions in and we're tired and we're like, oh, maybe I should go do the laundry. Oh, maybe I should scroll Instagram for a minute. We get distracted. We don't get as much done as we were hoping to. And then we feel really crappy about ourselves. So instead we declutter as we go. So if you're in the kitchen and you're like, why is it so hard to put the vegetable peeler away? I don't know. And then you declutter your utensils really quickly. Or while dinner's cooking, you make a pass through your junk drawer. Or when you go to do laundry, you're looking at the cleaners and the stain removers, and you're like, why do we have so many in here? I don't know, because those silly influencers told me to buy them, right? And we're keeping the ones that work really well, and the other ones we're saying, you know what I'm learning about tidy people is they have really low inventory. So even though I spent money on these things, which sucks, I am going to let it go because I am prioritizing a tidy house and protecting my own sanity by making it very easy to keep it that way. Tip number 5 is to do the dishes. Yeah, everybody says that, right? Fly Lady says it, Dana from A Slob Comes Clean. Pretty much any cleaning routine that you follow, you have to do the dishes every day. Like, it's just like a non-negotiable. For some of you, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. It was like hardwired into your brain from birth, right? And for others of us, it is not, but I don't know what it is. There is something that happens if you commit to doing the dishes every night. Then it's like, oh, I guess I'll just wipe down the counters too, and I guess I'll put this stuff away that's on the table. I think for most of us, the dishes are the worst. And so if we get the worst thing done, the other stuff doesn't actually seem that bad. And if the dishes are done, you want the rest of the kitchen pulled together so you can really look back and enjoy all of the work that you did. This is a game changer. If you have struggled with keeping your house clean, if you will commit for 30 days to doing the dishes every single night, whether you hand wash them or run the dishwasher, I think it'll radically change your home. And again, I'm not a disciplined person, but this one really is a game changer. Tip number 6 is to keep your counters clear. Kitchen counters, bathroom counters, any kind of counters that you have, we have to keep them clear because clutter attracts clutter. I mean, you could just do an experiment right now. Set something out on your counter and see, like do a time-lapse video of the things that accumulate next to it. Clutter attracts clutter. I think how it is that if something's out of place, it gives permission for everyone else in our household that other things can be out of place. Where often if a space is clean and tidy, you don't really want to be the first one to mess that up, right? Clutter attracts clutter. But also, I've said this often, we live in a very busy and chaotic world. I mean, there's just so much visually everywhere all of the time that our brains really appreciate highly simplified spaces. And especially in a space like the kitchen where we have a lot of work to do. Like we're really active in the kitchen. There's a lot that goes on any given day. And so if you have not done this yet, if you would try clearing off as much as you possibly can from your kitchen counters, moving it into cabinets and hanging stuff on the wall if you need to, I don't think you will ever go back. I think your brain is just gonna sigh a sigh of relief, and it's gonna feel so good that you won't ever want all that stuff on your counters again. Tip number 7, never leave a room empty-handed. And for this one, it just takes a little practice. Often you probably will leave and then be like, oh right, I need to go back and grab something. But this will change the feel of your house once you get into the habit. And isn't it amazing? I know many of you already are in this habit. Isn't it amazing how second nature it becomes? That you're almost like, oh, darn, there's nothing in here. Like I feel weird walking out of the room without anything in my hands, right? But as we're sharing these tips, like why does it actually really matter? What's the point? And again, I would say, because we live in such an overstimulated world right now, you probably don't even realize the impact of your clutter on your brain and your stress and your anxiety levels. And so we have to be so aware of our environment right now. And clutter, it's scientifically proven, clutter raises stress hormones. So that's why these things are so important. And that's why I will often just kind of flippantly say, I don't care if you spent money on it, get rid of it, right? Because the impact that it is having on our mental health, it's too important. And I care more about your mental health than something you spent money on, right? And if you watched my Goodwill video, I care more about your mental health than throwing stuff in the landfill too, right? Because we have to get it out. We have to reclaim this space, our homes, for ourselves, and we need to prioritize our peace of mind and our mental health. And then the other stuff, it falls into place. We don't make the impulse buying decisions anymore. So therefore we don't have so much to donate or to put into the landfill. And so that's why I feel prioritizing this, doing whatever you have to do to get this stuff out and then to keep it that way. I just think every area of your life is going to benefit, from your finances to your health, to just your, it's proven now too that our sense of autonomy is impacted by living in a highly simplified environment. We feel like we have options. We feel like we can choose. We can pivot depending on what the heck it is life throws at us today. And that is invaluable. And it's tough because you can, like the $20 makeup you bought that you're not using, that has a price on it. It's very difficult to put a price on a sense of autonomy, right? A sense of peace and freedom. That's tough, right? But man, I would say it is thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's why I'm like, get rid of the stuff. It doesn't matter, right? This is so worthwhile. Just do whatever you have to do. And then the last tip is posture. So if you caught my video recently on the 12 rules for decluttering, rule number 1 was posture. It's how we approach our things. And as I was thinking about it, I'm like, we kind of take like this meek posture with our stuff a lot of time. Like, oh no, I spent money on it. It was a gift. I thought I was going to use it. I didn't. Someone gave it to me for free. Why did I accept it? Right? And we're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Instead of just being like, you know what? Physical items are meant to serve me. They're meant to make my life better. And if they're not, adios, like out they go. They're dead to me. I don't need them, right? Cass said on one of our all-day declutters for Take Your House Back, she's like, we're not rehoming cats here. Like this stuff does not have feelings and we're not obligated to anyone else in the world to keep this stuff. And so that's a posture thing, that we have a more confident posture in our house to say it's just stuff. It doesn't actually matter. It's cool when it makes my life easier, but the rest of it, who cares? I'm gonna let it go because the benefits are just so good. All right, well, those are my absolute favorite tips for keeping and maintaining a tidy house. I would love to know if I missed any or any that you have down below. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, it's so fun to see your ideas too. And I'm gonna link to some of my other videos too on tidying, or just our long format decluttering videos that are really great to have on in the background when you are decluttering or working on reducing the inventory. I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.